Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Realm of the Mist podcast. I am your host, Chris Rastali, and with me, as always, is my snake charmer from Alberta, Miss Venus Chan.
Kundalini Princess, how's it going?
Your very young
so what's
camel.
up, everybody?
Careful, it spits.
Be a camel trainer. Great camel tamer.
There you
Spit
go.
in that direction, okay, Julio?
All right, well, this one's not going to be a very long show because we only got 3 topics of conversation. I'll start off with the entertainment one before we go into anything else. Dave Mustaine, lead vocalist and guitarist of the band Megadeth, has been diagnosed with throat cancer. He has recently taken to on social media to let his fans know that the Megadeth tour for 2019 has basically been canceled. He is in works with his physicians. They are very optimistic about the treatment that they are using. They say that it usually has a 90% success rate, and that he hopes to be able to return very, very soon. Until that point, they are getting set to release their follow-up to their album Dystopia. So I guess the biggest question here, obviously thoughts and well wishes to Dave Mustaine and his family, but thoughts and all, should he even try to continue on with something as severe as throat cancer?
Okay, just a blonde moment here. Is he like a singer in the band?
Yeah, he's a heavy metal singer of a band called Megadeth.
Okay. Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, oh god. Like, I just find out the topics before, so, oh fuck. Half asleep still, obviously, as always. But yeah, okay. Well, I mean, if you're gonna be a singer with throat cancer, yeah, go treat it.
Well, no, I didn't mean about the treatment.
But usually don't they end up like... yeah, but aren't most treatments like they end up with the removal of the larynx or whatever?
I don't know. The only thing he stated in his statement was that the doctors were hopeful, and the treatment that he was receiving usually has a 90% success rate of eliminating the cancer. It didn't say anything about whether they remove anything or if it's like chemotherapy treatment or what the case may be. It's just...
Yeah, so we're left in the dark.
Right.
At this. Yeah, because usually if it's a tumor or something or if it's an affected area, cancer spreads really rapidly when it's exposed to oxygen. So I guess the best thing would, not being a doctor, but hearing about a few cases like this, I guess the best thing would just be removal of the larynx, which is actually part of your it's your vocal cords.
Which would in turn would destroy his career.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again,
but, he'll survive, but he won't have much of a career.
Right, and that was the question that I wanted to pose, was if, let's just say, for the sake of argument, they don't have to remove the larynx, they are able to stop the cancerous growth or eliminate it either through chemotherapy or some form of for lack of a better term, they suck the damn tumor dry and then just clip it off. And he recovers. Should he tempt fate and return to his career, even if it goes that smoothly?
Yeah, if you're a singer and that's what you do and that's what you love, and obviously if you're going to get to the part where you're famous and you've honestly put in those hours and whatnot, so yeah, definitely try singing again.
Well, as a fan of Megadeth myself, I really don't want to think about the day that Megadeth can not perform anymore. But at the same indifference, I wouldn't want him to push too hard. The man is a human being. He's got a family, kids, stuff of that nature. He needs to think about what's best for them before what's best for us, the fans. And I think he's doing the right thing right now with canceling the tour, and seeking the treatment that needs to be handled. But I definitely think it's something that he might want to sit down and discuss with his family as to the aftermath of after this.
Well, your throat is a muscle. There's lots of muscles in it. So, they can like be repaired if they're like worked out properly. So, I mean, like like all human beings are capable of hitting like an alto and like a like the super low notes, as long as you like practice with your voice and your vocal cords. So, I mean, it seems possible. It's not impossible, but it's a lot of time, a lot of effort. But hey, if that's like the guy's loved singing, obviously, like he's made it to superstardom. So, I mean, I can't really see someone quitting.
No, I agree.
I mean,
I agree with you on that.
MGK had no voice one time, and he was performing like with no voice, and I'm not sure how that happened, but anyways, apparently he did it. So I mean,
Lip syncing.
there's a huge possibility he could do this.
Lip syncing. A career lips. Hey, it worked for Milli Vanilli. But
Oh yeah, especially after seeing MGK being punched in the dick at a Fall Out Boy concert, and he just gets up and he's like, "Wah!" It's like, yeah, I know you're not singing for real, but that was metal as fuck.
right. So
But
again,
they all do it. I mean, they're performing live. I mean, imagine how many live shows they're performing all the time. I mean, it's got to take a toll on your voice, no matter how much you work out your vocals.
oh, absolutely. And I mean, as somebody who used to be a singer in a metal band, I mean, my experience obviously is nothing compared to somebody who, you know, is mainstream or had the career of like Dave Mustaine or James Hetfield for that matter, or Metallica, you know, where they're performing 6-7 shows a week. You know, I was lucky if I performed 4 shows a month. Yeah, you know what I mean? 4 or 5 shows a month. They're doing 6-7 shows a week. So, yeah, I definitely get that there's a strain on the voice. But one of the things that, like, rock and metal singers are more known for than say, for the sake of argument, pop singers, is they go raw. They don't they don't lip sync to a track. More often than not, they go raw. And if it's a bad performance, it's a bad performance, but at least it was a real performance.
Well, I mean, could we forgive the guy if he was like still performing and lip syncing?
I think Megadeth, that's a hard question because metal fans are very fickle. But I think he's earned enough respect in his career that we would probably give him a pass just to be able to say we still see Megadeth performing. You know what I mean? Hopefully it doesn't come to that.
I don't think it would be an issue, like if you're some like rock legend, right?
Mm-hmm. I think we would forgive Dave on that one because of the fact that it's Dave fucking Mustaine, you know. But especially because you know, he's a double hitter. Not only is he a singer, he's, you know, a hell of a lead guitarist. You know, so even if he's lip syncing the tracks, you're still getting, you know, raw performance of his guitar work, which, you know, top 5 of the modern musicians gotta be, you know. As far as lead guitarists are concerned, so.
Well, there we go.
But again, we here at Realm of the Mist Entertainment send out our thoughts and prayers to Dave Mustaine and his family for a speedy recovery and hopefully a return to his career. Moving on.
Yep, best of luck.
Moving on. This one gets a little personal, but we're gonna power through this one real quick because I know Venus wants to talk about the next one. Family court systems.
Not really.
family court systems, especially here in the United States, particularly in my city of Philadelphia. And I know it's everywhere else. It's not just here, but I mean, it seems, for my experience, it's been extremely predominant here in Philadelphia. And they're unhidden biased against fathers, against males. I'm not exactly sure how I want to start this conversation. I am a person who is a single father who, you know, divorced, have 3 kids, 2 are still under the age of 18. I pay child support. I deal with the family court system all the damn time. They never want to work with me. They expect me to pay more than half my annual salary to child support, with my incentive being 48 days out of a year in visitations, to which she doesn't even follow. The courts don't care that she doesn't follow it. I have proof she's not using the child support money for my children, and I'm told that once it leaves my paycheck, it's none of my concern. It is literally like the system is completely rigged to not have fathers succeed or prosper, to literally be a co-parent to their children. Please tell me this isn't just me that notices this.
No. A lot of people notice this. See, I'm like on the other end of the spectrum, like, like the mom, and like, I actually went to go pick. Hold on, I need to grab my coffee. I'm going outside.
No problem.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's been raining here all day, and it's finally just stopped, and the sun is out now. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna sit outside. So, but I went to go pick up my kids, and they've been living with their dad since September, and they were actually supposed to be with me at Christmas time. And because his van was broken, right, he couldn't drive them 2 hours to get to the airport, which was complete bullshit, because as I was calling him, asking him about this, he was driving his girlfriend to Timmins. Or like to wherever they catch the plane. And so, like, it goes really both ways, like, with parents. Like, parents are just fucking evil. And it all starts with the parents, because, of course, you get the good lawyer, and, the judge likes him, whatever, blah, 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 blah. He's been doing his job forever, blah, 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 blah. It's really one-sided throughout the whole court system.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation, because
Sorry.
I don't know if it was
Yeah, it's really one-sided throughout the court system. And it doesn't really matter, like, who does what or who. Sorry?
Go ahead. Nobody stop. Go ahead.
Fuck, I guess I can't sit outside. I'm being swarmed by mosquitoes.
Oh.
I just, like, killed, like, 6 of them at once. I'm like, fuck. But, yeah, it's, like, really one-sided. You get the good lawyer, and you know what? You're going to win everything. And there's really no fairness in the justice system, right?
There's really not. There's very much a bias in the system. Case in point, as most people will probably know, when we went on a little bit of a hiatus, not this personal hiatus, but the recent hiatus before the revamp of Realm Limits Entertainment, I had wound up losing my job, and I had spent 5 months trying to find another job. Did the courts care that I lost my job? No, they still want their money. They didn't reduce my child support. They didn't give me a suspension of child support till I got on my feet again. They didn't care. They just allowed me to wind up in the arrears. Well, I got a job. I started paying my child support again, and the first thing they wanted to do was drag me into court on 2 separate days. They couldn't do it at once. They had to do it on 2 separate days to tell me I'm in contempt of court for non-compliance with child support, and to demand not only that I continue paying my current child support payments, but to come up with an insurmountable amount of money by 90 days to clear the contempt charge to put towards the arrears, knowing full well that it's
ridiculous.
Probably something that I'm not going to reasonably be able to gather together, at least not without help. And these are the things that, like, Philly courts do. And I don't know if it's like this.
You should totally
else.
Fight that. Like,
I am fighting that. You think I want to go to jail or something because of the fact that they want more money than I make?
Like, when does a fair judge actually step in and say, like, look, you're unemployed, you're incapable of paying this. Okay, even pay a portion of it, like 30% or so. Like, you only living off so much money, so obviously it has to be reduced. Like, aren't judges supposed to work with you regardless of what, has been said or whatnot? Like, they're supposed to be on your side and, like, fair.
They're supposed to be non-partial, non-biased. They're supposed to look at what is in the best interest of the child or children in the case, not the mother or the father. More
Which
often than
often is
not,
pretty one-sided.
more often than not, they don't. Particularly in liberal cities, they automatically assume that the best place for the child is the mother. Now, I'm not one to argue that point. That's relatively known that most children are best with their mothers. But the fact is,
But
but the fact
that
is, you,
shouldn't be limited to 48 days a year. That's the fact of it.
right? They
'Cause
shouldn't be
that's not
limited to
healthy for the
48
children
days
either.
a year, and they should not be automatically dismissed as non-nurturing or better choice parents simply because they have a penis.
Well, I'm just going to lay this out there. For the most part, I have seen a lot of moms do a lot better with their children than I have seen fathers. And not to say that I've seen fathers do bad, it's just mothers typically tend to do better with their children. Um, like I've seen men like use their kids. Well, I've seen both parents, like both fathers and mothers, use their kids as like, to get boyfriends or girlfriends or, stay in relationships with people because, oh, our kids are the same age. And it's like, well, no, you guys just want a bone. And I mean, that's pretty much all it is. And you're using your kids as like fucking like toys or schemes to get what you want. And that's not healthy for them either. Mind you, like these women that I know that you're talking about, or that I know that you're going to be referring to at some point, like that use their kids as leverage for everything, like leverage for money from the father, leverage is owning your life, leverage is stuff like that. I mean, they're not the healthiest either. But I mean, when you have like a sane thinking person who actually cares about their kids, yeah, typically it'll come down to that the mother does a better job.
And I'm not disputing that. More often than not, the mother is the more stable provider emotionally. Sometimes financially, but mostly emotionally. I'm not disputing that. My issue isn't the fact that there is, that mothers are. I'll say 75% of the time. I'll go that high. 75% of the time, the mothers are usually the right choice, as far as like having the
I'm
main
gonna go with 65% actually.
Okay, that's fair enough. But as far as like
Like
saying
no,
the
like
main
there are
custody,
terrible fucking women out there.
well, that's my point. Like every
And
father
like
in a divorce and separation where children are involved, fathers are automatically looked at as deadbeats, whether they even are deadbeats or not. And I'm not saying there's not deadbeat dads out there. Oh, absolutely there are. But the problem is there's just as many deadbeat moms, but nobody ever considers that.
But you see, you could have involved parents with most custody, and they could still be deadbeat parents because, they're not involved with their children's lives. They're not giving a shit about their children's lives. And that happens, like, in both ways. Like, why are judges, like, just, like, being prejudiced towards having a mother win? I mean, like, the facts even presented about this and that, before, like, there's even, like, money involved.
The problem is that's all they care about is the money. Let's be fair; they don't care about the actual well-being of the child, because judges, the court system, they get a bump for child support. They do. That's why once you're in the system, you don't get out of the system. At least it's here in the United States. They do. They get. It's the same deal as like say for the sake of argument, you were arrested for domestic violence. And the first thing that they do with something of that nature is they turn around and they tell you, well, you got to go to anger management. Well, guess what? That judge who sentenced you to anger management owns that anger management course that you have to pay for. So guess where that money goes? Right in that judge's pocket. It's a scam.
Well, this is making more sense then, right? It has nothing to do with any of that. It's who's making more money. Yeah. That's pretty much what it comes down to, because like that's all it is you're paying this much to the system. Every time you show up in court, you have to pay a lawyer. Every time you show up here, you have to pay this, you have to pay that. So, wow. This makes me think like parents, like don't go through the court system unless you absolutely have to. Like if you even gave two shits about their children's other parent, stay out of the court system. Work it out. Like
Be
it's not that
reasonable.
hard.
Be reasonable. I mean, I'll speak to it here, and I
Exactly.
and I had an ugly divorce. I'm not going to lie and say that it was sunshine and roses. I still don't get along with my ex-wife. But to take care of my children, I would bite the bullet and work 50-50 with her in every which way I could. I don't, because she decided she wanted to be greedy and make sure the court system made sure I paid child support and everything else. So you get what the court ordered. That's all you get. Because I'm told by under penalty of jail time that if I do more, I will go to jail. Have you ever seen that story
Fuck,
of
I
a
would just
guy who paid too much child support and was arrested for it?
no.
Yeah.
Why
There
don't
was,
you like that?
there,
That happened.
that was a couple years ago, but yeah, there was a guy who came into some money and wanted to make sure his kids were taken care of. So not only did he pay his child support, he went out and he spent a bunch of money on his kids. Bunch of money that benefited the mother too. Courts caught wind of it and arrested him.
Wow. Wow. That what the fuck? Like you're paying taxes on money. You can do what you want with it, and they're gonna put you in jail for that.
How weird is it come Christmas time if Santa Claus brings my kid a Nintendo Switch and I could go to jail because Santa brought a Nintendo Switch?
Like what the fuck?
How
I'm
weird
just
is
sitting
that?
here I can't even stop laughing over this thought of this. Like what the fuck?
Seriously, down in the
Like
comment
yeah.
section down below, guys. I'd love to hear your stories, especially if you're a single parent who had to deal with the court system. I don't want to hear necessarily like he was an asshole or she was a bitch or whatever else. I want to hear how the court system handled your particular case. Those are the stories I want to hear. So definitely in the comment section down below, guys, let us know what your experience is with the family court systems in your city, in your state, in your country, and how it compares to what I'm describing here in Philadelphia.
Okay, so in Ontario, so this is my story since we're here.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
I had to go through a custody battle, and like it was so stupid. Like we could have worked this out of court, and we actually did work it out of court, which makes it even more stupid that the bitch card that my kid's father played, he went to every single lawyer in town. So it'd be a conflict of interest for me to hire any of them. And he, like, honestly, like, I had no fucking legal representation when I ended up going to court. So much of the bitch card he played. So I had duty counsel that would change every single court date because they didn't have a choice but to represent me. And anyways, we ended up going to mediation and we did 50-50 out of court. But like I understand when some guys have to go through with like bitches and stuff because I had to go through something similar. Like, and it's not even like, it's supposed to be a fair system, but then you have someone who's like, no, I'm going to go see every lawyer. So you can't get proper representation. So you have to abide by my rules and do what I say. And that's the type of shit I had to go through.
It absolutely saddens me because in the end of the day, and like I'm not looking for pity or woe in my struggles with the family court system. If anything, I'm trying to raise awareness because to my mind, it doesn't matter what I suffer. It doesn't matter what Venus suffers. It doesn't matter what my ex-wife suffers or what Venus's ex suffers. What matters is this is supposed to be for the benefit and well-being of the children, and somewhere along the lines the family court system has completely lost sight of that, and that is something that needs, like, unequivocally, no room for error. That needs to change.
Like men
stop.
and women, like clearly men play, like clearly men do play the same thing that women play, and it's like, buddy, like I would have been fine with 50-50, and you have to go and like fuck everything so that like literally like I get like this biggest shit end of the stick. So what? You could have 50-50 custody. Like, why do people even do that shit? Like, the shiesty shit people pull while going through court. And it all, literally all comes down to money. It all comes down to child tax. Like, he threatened me that if I didn't let him have all the child tax from the government, he would take me for child support on top of this. And I didn't have a proper lawyer to represent me. So, obviously, like, to be threatened with that, well, fine, take it all. And it's technically illegal when you're taking it all and you only have your kids half the month. You're only supposed to be getting money for half that month, whether or not the other parent gets it. So
that would make sense and that would be fair, but of course they don't think of it that way. But, you know, I saw a meme on Facebook by a father's rights movement thing, and it made perfect sense to me. But this is literally the mindset of the family court systems, is that, you know, I'm allowed to raise my stepchildren while some other guy, my stepchildren, who is the father of those kids, are raising stepchildren from the father of some other kids. Why is it okay for us to raise stepkids but not our own?
right?
Like, nobody has an issue with somebody like me raising Venus's kids if her and I got together. But for some reason, I'm still only allowed 48 days with my biological children. Figure that out.
Well, that's a whole breakdown of the family right there.
Exactly.
Like, I honestly don't agree with this, like, one-sided bullshit. Like, you both have kids, you're both responsible for them. Now, I understand, you know, okay, like, even if you're married to this guy and this guy's, like, away working and paying to support you guys, okay, you know, or it didn't work out with their kid's father and he's away working because he knows he still has to support his kids and stuff. I have no issue with that either. Like, he knows you're a good mom and he's off doing whatever. Like, hey, why not? But that's a personal thing. And that should be left out of the court again. Because if it works, right? Like, why fix what's not broken?
Well, see, that's the point, is that the best interests of the children should be the top priority of any family court system. If you cannot come to agreements outside of the court and you have to bring it to the court system should automatically be looking at each and every case, not only an individual status, but they should be looking for complete and total shared custody between both parents, 50-50, unless there is irrefutable evidence that this would not work, i.e. the guy's a child molester or she's a drug addict or something, you know, something of that type of issue, which would change that dynamic. But if you have a caring mother and a caring father who, even if they don't like each other, still love their fucking child, then they shouldn't be punished, nor should the children be punished, simply because it didn't work out between mom and dad.
But, yeah, like, in my opinion, people should just be doing mediation. Mediation is still legally binding, but it does favor both parents more than it does, like, for one parent. And, you know, it's a simple process. You meet with your lawyers and you have someone in between and you say, well, I want this, I want this. Okay, well, can we agree to this? Yeah, sure, no problem. Okay, here you go, sign the document and that's it. It saves you so much money in court and saves you so much money on lawyers. And you're still stuck doing whatever you do. But, you know, you sit there like human beings and two adults with someone both on your side and a mediator in the middle.
No, I agree with that, but sometimes you get people like, again, my ex-wife. If you put it in her mindset, she would take every dime I make, and it still wouldn't be enough. She would demand that I get a second job and give every dime from that job as well. I don't need sleep. I don't need a roof over my head. Like, she is that type of person. If you sit us in a room with a mediator, we would never come to an agreement because she's greedy.
I would just go to fucking jail and be like, you know what, see my kids when they're 18. I'm done with this shit. I'll live for free. Fuck you. Now you're on your own because no one's going to support you. And you know what? Right in your fucking face, bitch.
And yeah, I'm putting my business straight out there. This shit's going to be up on YouTube and Anchor. You guys, I'm not going to drop the name of my ex-wife. I'm going to be at least that civil. But
Well,
there
people can
are
find her.
women out there like this.
There's men out there like this too. Okay,
Oh, there is.
so
But I'm saying
we
as
both
far
got both spectrums. Yeah.
what I'm saying is more specifically not necessarily to our normal listeners who are mothers, fathers, uh, internet junkies or whatever the case may be. I'm talking about whatever listeners that may be listening that actually are involved with the court systems in some way, a court officer, a district attorney, a judge. Who knows? Maybe one of them will be listening to this and it's like, look, these people do exist and you're letting them get away with murder.
Pretty much. Like, your whole life is dedicated to one fucking woman who, like, literally shits all over you, or to one fucking man who literally shits all over you. And like, I've seen people, like, lose custody battles because while they're going through court, the other parent will be like, oh, well, she's on drugs. And then she gets stuck with children's aid in 3 months, and it's within that 3 month time, she's not allowed to see her kids. And so the court will rule in his favor, and it's like, dude, I'm not even on drugs in the first place. He lied about that, and now I'm losing everything because of it. And yeah, I've actually seen that happen.
Well, see, that's another thing in family court. In normal courts in the United States, there is a charge for perjury. If you lie under oath, you go to jail, except in family court. For some reason, they don't care that you lie. They'll just go with it.
Yeah, it's like, and it's a typical thing. Like, if anyone's on drugs around kids, yeah, they're going to investigate. But now, okay, they find out, like, 3 months later that you weren't on drugs and you're a great parent and stuff, but and you've lost custody in that whole time and you're not even allowed to see your kid. All because somebody lied about you.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, under the same circumstances, that my ex had children from another man, and they were, while we were together, they were my stepchildren. But of course, family court battles for the girls that way. And the father of those girls turned around and took pictures off of my Facebook account, or MySpace account at the time. That's how long ago it was, of my band, to prove that I was a devil worshiper, a drug addict, and a sexual predator because of shock rock photos of me in a band in my 20s. And I had to fight that. Wow. I had to prove I wasn't a devil worshiper, I wasn't a drug addict, and I certainly wasn't a sexual deviant. I had to prove that.
You're in a rock band.
Finally, I got before a judge who looked at the photos and said, this is shock rock, right? I said, yeah. Do you do it anymore? No, I gave up music to be a family man. And he looked dead at the ex and said, it's called promotion.
Yeah.
It's the same as us using vulgarity in our podcast right now. We don't do it just for the hilly-nilly of doing it. It's not just shock value, but it is shock value. It's shock value because we want you to pay attention. And if the word fuck will make you pay attention, then we're going to fucking use it. By the way, there is a mature rating on this podcast.
When we're talking with adults, it's a mature show. It's like, it's specified mature content. It's made for adults. It's not made for children. And I'm still thinking about doing like a show with children and about their family dynamics and stuff, whatever. And it had to be said. Obviously, we're not going to be sitting there and dropping the F-bombs every 2 minutes.
No, we would have to make sure
we can behave like adults, but
no, we would definitely have to make sure we don't. But so yeah, I mean, the long and the short of it is something needs to change in the family court system. It's not set up for anybody to truly benefit and better themselves or the family dynamic. Even a separated family is still a family.
No.
And of course,
parents should be working together.
And of course, major priority on what is in the best interest of the child, not the checkbook.
Exactly.
With that,
Like, do they give you children lawyers in the States?
if you're talking like public defenders, yeah, and have better luck getting the kid who cleans tables at McDonald's.
No, no. Like, do your children get a lawyer, like representation in court throughout the whole court process, and say, this is what the kid wants, and we've observed the children in both habitats, and this is the best one for the child.
I mean, you could request like a psychologist to come out and do the observations, but lawyers usually no. That falls under the parent themselves. Plus, it depends on the age of the child. Like my children are 10 and 9. They're only now starting to reach that age where their opinion would even matter.
See, because I had my children were given a lawyer, and they were like 3 and 4, or 2 and 3, or something. And they were given a lawyer, and they didn't get to like say, this is what's best for us. But they came out and they saw the children with like me, and they saw the children with their father, and then they gave their recommendation.
And of course, the recommendation was you.
Oh hell no! They said that I should never be allowed to see my kids again.
Did they really?
Wow. Yeah. That's exactly what they said, and I'm like, wow, you guys are like fucked in the head. Because I moved into this apartment at the time, and like I didn't have like a fridge, and like I literally just moved in. I'm like literally just started a job, and she doesn't have a fridge, so she's incapable of taking care of children. Meanwhile, I'm like, well, like I live across the street from the grocery store. I literally cross the street and I can go shopping every day. It's not that it's like I'm incapable of making food for my kids or anything. It's right there. So if I want chicken for dinner that night, I have to go walk across the street, grab a good portion of chicken, and there you go.
Right. And of course, it's not like you spent months or even a year without a fridge. It's you just moved in and the apartment didn't have a fridge yet.
I wasn't even there for a month.
Hence the word yet.
So, like, no, and fridges are expensive, and like like going through this, like I wasn't even getting any support. So now I was waitressing, so I'm making $8 an hour and tips, and I just literally started this job 2 weeks ago, and I'm like doing everything to bust my ass to have my kids with me. But, it's not good enough because at this one moment in time, instead of checking back up and saying, okay, now you're better off because I got a fridge like the week later.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna put.
So it was fucking stupid.
I'm gonna put the third conversation on the back burner because I'm digging in here, and besides the family court system, I'm digging in here because you just blew my mind on something. Canada must be completely different from the United States. You were a waitress and made $8 an hour plus your tips. Most waiters and waitresses here in the United States make something measly like $3.25 because they get tips.
Yeah, well, see, the minimum wage here was like 11 something at the time, so it's $3 less. And which was fine because I was doing good. Like I was able to afford first and last month's rent from my apartment in like a few weeks' time. And wow, I didn't have a fridge, which was totally fine because even lots of times I would eat at my mom's and everything.
Right.
And like they expect you to come up with everything all at once. All at once, I'm supposed to have everything in order. It's like, wow, you guys have like no fucking soul, no fucking humanity. Tell me anyone who can like all of a sudden wake up one morning and be like, yeah, my life's going to be perfect. And like their dad took everything. He took the fridge, he took this, it's mine. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to bust my ass and get everything. So like my parents were helping me out. I ended up getting a little beer fridge like in the meantime, which was not good enough for them even. And it's like, wow, like, parents are busting their ass to do everything that they fucking can. And this is like how you treat them.
Exactly. Because I've gone through similar things. Because when I got my first apartment, with first dealing with this bullshit, they of course inspected me and they're like, "You don't have any food." Well, yeah. Why not? I only get the kids 2 days every 14 days. I said the rest of the time I live off of fucking ramen noodles, or I eat at McDonald's or something because I'm on the road. I buy food when I have the kids. It's like,
Yeah.
why would
You
I
see
buy?
what blew my mind even more?
Why would I keep a whole bunch of food in my apartment to spoil and go bad and waste the money on because I'm not home to cook it? Plus, I'm a terrible cook anyway. But I mean, that's beside the point. I make a
Yeah,
mean
like see,
Chef
like I
Boyardee.
worked in a restaurant, so see, like I worked in a restaurant, and my kids would be at my mom's, like from like either the night before, because I'd have to start work at 5 o'clock in the morning, so I'd have to be up at like 4 or something. So my kids would be at my mom's most of the day, and we'd go there for supper and stuff. Like they weren't starving, like they had tons of food, and they'd be at my mom's there all day. My mom would make us dinner. Like she'd get paid for babysitting, and then she would make us like a meal on top of that, and then we'd have snacks at home or something. And then we like actually like when I was doing shifts like that, I would actually have to be staying at my mom's place overnight, and because like literally I'd get off work at 2, work from 5 a.m. till 2 in the afternoon. I'd be tired. So my mom would let me take a nap or stuff. I was only 22 years old, so remember, like this is like a huge burden when you're like 22 years old, like 2 kids, and all this pressure on you and everything.
Right.
So we wouldn't have to worry about being at home and having all that. Or she'd send me with stuff, I had a microwave and a stove, but it still wasn't good enough. So being 22 years old and being incapable of taking care of my children, which I was getting tons of support in the meantime. Like their dad was arrested when I was 5 months pregnant for my daughter for trafficking cocaine. But he was a better parent than I was.
Figure that out. Figure that out. Like again, we're going back to the perjury in family court. My ex claimed that I was harassing her to get a protection from abuse order. You know what the harassment was? I told her she couldn't take my children to Florida.
Wow.
That if she did so, I would call the police. That was my harassment. That was what I did.
And did she get her harassment order?
And she got her harassment order. She got her protection from abuse order. I spent 10 days in jail on a $100 bail.
And you didn't have the $100.
I couldn't get nobody to fucking front it. I had the money in my goddamn account.
And you couldn't use your ATM card.
I couldn't use my ATM card. All I needed was somebody to walk over, pay the $100 As soon as I got out, I'd walk over to the ATM with them and give it right back. You know what I mean?
Like, wow, the fucked up situations you end up in, eh?
But the funny thing is I spent 10 days and had a year where I had to have particular areas for my children to be dropped off to somebody else to give them to me on my visitations and shit on a lie. On a lie that not only has marred my criminal record. It was only a misdemeanor, but it's still, I've been arrested. I've been to jail. And I'm not saying I never did anything in my life that didn't warrant me going to jail, but in this particular case, I didn't.
Yeah, you're all innocent in jail.
No, I'm not. Everybody's innocent in jail, but in this particular case, in this particular scenario, me saying that you are not allowed to take my children
I'm bugging you.
to Florida is not harassment.
No. Wow.
You ruined my criminal record I guess, like, and my life on a lie. Not you.
Wow. And you don't even... No, I know. It's like at the end of the day, like, wow, do you even have the money to pay for a lawyer to fight that? Like, no, it's like, wow, you could have been working throughout those 10 days to pay someone, like, to afford a lawyer or something, but no. People are so fucking. How does your wife sleep at night? Your ex-wife.
She, you know what? The funniest thing is like, all right,
And the queen size bed,
yeah,
queen size pillow top mattress that you bought for her, right?
well, to give you the mentality of my ex-wife, I'll give you the mentality in one conversation that her and I had, because I actually gave a shit about my marriage and I gave a shit about my kids, and I tried to save the marriage even after finding out that she was cheating on me. That's what broke us up. She was cheating on me with the guy she's with now, by the way.
Wow.
And I tried to save my relationship and
Wow.
everything else. I tried to save my relationship.
How does he feel like it being a man?
Exactly. And I tried to save the relationship for the longest time until the divorce papers were finally signed, because I failed. I could not save my marriage. And yeah, I was resentful of it. And she didn't like the fact that I was resentful of the fact that she cheated on me, that she moved her boyfriend into our home. We're trying to teach my children to call him daddy. She didn't understand.
Ew.
She was mad at me for having issues with this. And her main topic of conversation was, relationships break up all the time. You should just get over it. Bitch!
Oh, so with that, like, calling other parents.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so with that, calling other parents, like mommy or daddy and stuff. So my kid's dad's girlfriend bought my daughter a phone for her birthday. She's 10, okay? She buys a 10-year-old a phone. And my daughter's looking at me and she's like, Mom, she said in the card, to my daughter. And I'm like, what? Yeah, to my daughter. And I was like, well, I guess, if your dad wants to have you calling someone else mom. I'm like, well, I guess you could call someone else daddy. So she texted him that, and he's like, what the fuck? Just almost lost his shit. And I'm like, well, it goes both ways, and you're making her feel uncomfortable. Like, that's not her mom. She has one mom. And how would you like it if she started calling someone else daddy, and he just lost his shit?
But see, that's the thing. Like, if say for the sake of argument, let's flip roles on my relationship issues for a minute, and let's say that she and I divorced because we didn't work out, and she winds up finding a good guy, a really good guy, takes care of my kids and everything else. My kids love him. I'm not saying it wouldn't hurt my heart, but would I take umbrage to the fact that my kids decide to call him daddy because he's their stepdaddy? No, I really wouldn't. However, this motherfucker, everything I need to know about this motherfucker, you stepped in on another person's marriage.
Yeah.
I don't really want you around my children because I don't want them learning those types of behaviors from you.
You see, that's exactly it. Like the type of people you have around your children, like they're going to affect your children. Like, and if you're dating some trashy ass person, like, your children are not going to be too appreciative of that. Like, they learn. So if you have like a bad male influence around your children, what do you think? Like, your daughter's going to learn, if he's treating you like shit, like, she's going to learn that that's how it's supposed to be, and her boyfriend's going to treat her like shit. Or your son's going to learn that if he's treating her like shit, well, then he's supposed to treat his girlfriend like shit.
Exactly.
Because they're so impressionable at that age.
Exactly. And the last thing in the world I want to have is like my daughter growing up thinking that it's okay that if you want to relieve a relationship, the best thing to do is cheat.
No, and see, how can like courts rule in the favor of parents like that? Yeah. Like, it's damaging towards children.
Exactly. And I mean, we could go into farther details of my personal life, which we're not going to do. But I mean, we're dealing with the family court system, not the family dynamics itself. But I mean, the fact of the matter is that these people like this is allowed full or sole custody and allowed to completely financially ruin their former significant other Unhindered. The courts don't care because as long as they're getting their bump, as long as their pockets are getting filled, their coffers are filling up, who fucking cares? It's a money machine. And it absolutely needs to stop. On that note,
I'm getting to the point where it's like you don't even trust the court systems.
I don't. I don't. I don't trust the court systems of Philadelphia in any way, shape, or form. I really don't. And this is the reason why. I've been dealing with this shit majority of my adult life. Don't forget, I have an older son by this woman, too. And he was damn near an adult by the time her and I got married, so I was already in the system paying for him.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a dumbass, I know. I did the math. Actually, I did the math. Let me give you an idea of what type of money machine this is. I'm not going to go into details of how much I pay per child support or per month, but we'll say, for the sake of argument, here you go. I'll say I pay $1,000 a month in child support. All right, it's a nice round number. Times 12 months, that's a year. That is $12,000 a year. Now, let's times that by 18 years. $216,000. Now let's add my oldest child. So that's another. We'll go 125. Shit, hold on. Oh, and I fucked that up.
Who even makes $1,000 a month to be able to spend? Like, wow. Like, people at minimum wage don't make $1,000 a month. You know, you might make $1,200 a month. How the fuck do you live off of $200 per month?
Now, with the round number that I gave, that was for two children, so that's why it was $216,000 to raise them to 18, right? So that's why I gave a guesstimate of $125,000 for a single child, raising him all the way up to 18. By the time my youngest child is 18 years old, I will have paid this woman $341,000.
Okay, where does all this money go to? Like, it does not cost that much to raise a child. Where is this money being spent?
Actually, according to Google, give me a second here, because I looked this up earlier today having this conversation.
You could buy a house that.
What is the estimated average cost to raise a child to 18? All right. According to the 2017 report from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the average cost of raising a child from birth to the age of 17 is $233,610. That's their census. That's what they base on, is they think it takes that much money to raise a child. Now, let's say for the sake of argument that it does take that much money to raise a child. There's two parents. Split that in fucking half.
Right? If you can't afford to raise a child, should you even be having a child?
Well, now we go back into the abortion conversation, and I don't want to go there.
Well, no. Just logically, like, why are we permitting people who can't afford children, like moms who just want to live off the system, have 5 different kids, collect $3,000 in child tax, plus have them with all 5 different fathers so that they're getting child support from 5 different fathers, so that's another $5,000 a month. Why are we letting them have children?
Because for some reason they like to have their constituents under their control and thumb, dependency, that's the word I was looking for, in things like welfare. It's beneficial. It's beneficial to the lazy person to be on welfare and have as many kids as they can, but there's got to be some sort of benefit to the city, municipalities, states, or federal government in return, because why else would we allow that to happen?
Right.
And now we're going into
that's some
tinfoil
messed up
hat
shit.
society.
Like, I know
shit right there, some conspiracy theories, but you can't tell me that we're allowing them to drain our system just because. There's got to be some sort of kickback that allows the governments or societies to say, yeah, it's okay, go ahead, have another child, we'll pay you for it. You know?
Like, okay, like it's not even reasonable to have that many children. Like, I have 2 young children. It wasn't impossible, but I used to pull my hair out some days because it was so stressful. Like, that's what normal parents do. And that's with 2 children. So how the hell do these women with 5 children not go completely insane? And you know, it's pretty sad too. You see the state that these children are in lots of times, and they're not bathed lots of times. They're wearing dirty clothes lots of times. And this woman's getting paid to raise a fucking child, which is not even raising properly.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. And this falls under like shit like the Dr. Spock generation that everybody decided to read that bullshit and say, oh, okay, well, now you can't hit your children, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then, of course, the technology generation, which were raised on television being the babysitter, which now it's computers, tablets, phones, blah, blah, blah. But essentially, entertainment is your babysitter, as opposed to actually taking your child and reading a book, teaching them how to play catch, working on a car with them. You know, stuff like that most normal parents would do with their children. I'll tell you right now, my youngest son, to give a perfect example, my youngest son is a video game fanatic. He loves Mario Brothers till all end. If you get him started on Mario Brothers, he will talk your ear off for the next 4 hours. But one of the greatest things that he loves...
Oh, my kid too.
But one of the greatest things my kid loves to do is simply go outside and have a catch with me. My daughter, addicted to the phone, but loves going to Pennypack Park. Take them the fuck away from the technology and do things with them, and it means that much more to them.
Well, it's not that you have to take it away from them. It's honestly, do something with them and stop giving them the technology to just fucking distract them from everything else going on around them.
That was my point. I'm not saying do away with technology. I'm saying instead of just handing them a phone, handing them a tablet, or turning on Netflix, take them the freak outside. Teach them something, or just do something with them. Spend time with them. That means all the difference in the world to a kid.
Right? And we've got people that just sit there and, what was it that I saw? Like, Cardi B makes music for moms who are looking for their next baby daddy for child support. Yeah, and I'm like, much. Oh my God, yeah. I make money moves. Like, yeah, okay, ladies. I'm like, well, if this is accurate as fuck.
It's the God's honest truth. And maybe one day we can go into a conversation about, like, the influences of modern culture on society, particularly in entertainment fields of, like, music and movies. We could definitely dig into that conversation, but that would be a conversation for another time. Guys, we are reaching that hour mark. So, Venus, why don't you tell them where they can find you and what you got coming up next now that you're back?
Well, so we'll be doing at some point this week. It had to be said. Tinfoil Hot Society. Hopefully sometime this week again. Like, I know, like, the company's a little busy with juggling everyone else's shows and stuff. And I'm a little busy, as you can hear right now. I've got kids running around. I'm a little busy with them as well, and doctor's appointments. Last month, my pregnancy, so it's a little bit of a hectic time. So shows right now a little to be announced. Sorry, just give me one moment.
No problem. While you're doing that, I'll go ahead and I want to give a congratulations to Mr. Anthony Anthem, Mr. AKA, Mr. AKA, who I want to congratulate him on getting his first sponsor for Delivery Brothers podcast. They now have a sponsor. Give me a second to pull that up on who it is. It is not any of this shit. Hold on. There it is right there. Grand Jerky is now sponsoring Delivery Brothers podcast. I couldn't be more happy for one of the shows that fall under our company. Anthony, congratulations. Well earned and well deserved. So, and send me some jerky, damn it, because I like beef jerky.
Who doesn't like beef jerky?
Right? But yeah, so I mean, we should be recording It Had to Be Said and Tinfoil Hat Society this Thursday, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, I think Thursday was a day that worked for me.
Right. All right, and go ahead.
And yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Venus Chan, or Solar Nova, depending. You can find me on my fan page. One of the most presents It Had to Be Said with Venus. Then we've got on Instagram, Venus Uncensored. You can email me directly at venusuncensored@gmail.com. I'd give you all my number, but I mean, then I would have to change it.
Guys, don't be too upset. She hasn't even
Jesus.
given me her phone number, and she works with me.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty much about it.
And guys, you can find me anywhere Realm of the Mist Entertainment can be heard, wherever quality podcasts are heard or right here on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like, comment, subscribe, and especially comment, because I want to hear your thoughts on this conversation. And of course, share this out to your friends and family, especially somebody who may need to hear it. Guys, thank you very much for hanging out with us, and I will catch you on the next Realm of the Mist podcast. Have a good night, guys.
Hey everyone, this is John Tolley, inviting you to check out War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. Each week, me and co-host Christopher Stolley discuss the news series surrounding one of the movie franchises every Wednesday at 8 Eastern as we move the galaxy far, far away, right here on FM and wherever fine podcasts are heard.
No, when you need juice or mod, go to Vape Scorpion. 1859 Boston Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19111, are formerly known as East Coast Vapor. They have all your needs, all the equipment, all the juice, and hey, you're there. Sit down, enjoy. Bring your own and just have the people. So guys, if you really vape or just want to try a locally juice, make sure you 116 or give a call and make sure you let them know. Realm of the Mist Entertainment.
Why didn't the Three Little Pigs go in for some kind of flat share scheme?
Does Jesus get to choose which wine he turns it into?
Why don't Sims have the upper body strength to climb out of a swimming pool?
And does everybody really want to be a cat?
I'm Will Baker.
And I'm Alex Prescott.
And if you're the type of person that overthinks these deep philosophical questions, then Think to the Brink is the podcast for you.
From Disney characters to song lyrics, debates to social etiquette, tune in every week for your dose of paralysis by analysis.
All topic suggestions are welcome. If you can think it, we can overthink it. Think to the Brink. Available on all podcast platforms.